The Reaper UAV may look simple, but behind the scenes it relies on a launch crew, a ground data terminals, and a ground control station. Inside the ground control station, the co-pilot can choose to launch a precision ninja missile to minimize collateral damage. But if the mission requires, he may also opt for traditional gravity-based weapons capable of taking out entire city blocks. More details on how to fly and the engineering behind it, all in the video ahead. Since we're an engineering channel, let's take a look under the hood. Right at the front, you'll find the angle of attack sensor, a key part of how the drone understands airflow and stability. Just behind that are the GPS modules and the batteries tucked in neatly to power and guide the aircraft. Moving along, this is where the famous Lynx Sar radar is mounted. Think of it as a high-powered camera, but instead of using light to create images, it uses radar waves. It sends signals down to the ground, and when those waves hit something like a vehicle or a building, they bounce back. The radar then pieces together those reflections to create a detailed picture of what's below, even if it's cloudy, stormy, or pitch dark. Further back sits the MQ-9 Reaper's SATCOM dish. This is what lets the drone stay connected far beyond the operator's line of sight by linking up with satellites parked way out in geostationary orbit. Sure, there's a tiny delay due to the distance the signal has to travel, but even with that, remote pilots can control the Reaper from thousands of miles away with incredible precision. But that's not all. The MQ-9 Reaper also needs to fly with precision, which is why the pilot uses an image-intensified TV camera. This helps in low-light environments where visibility is limited. Next, there's the Laser Target Designator. It's used to mark targets for laser-guided munitions like the GBU-12 Paveway, which rely on laser guidance for pinpoint accuracy. That's where the laser rangefinder comes in. It helps estimate the distance to a target, providing critical data for precision strikes. Moving on, the Reaper is equipped with an infrared sensor for thermal imaging. This is especially useful at night or in poor visibility conditions. It's a powerful tool because it can detect the heat signatures of vehicles, people, and even animals. This helps in identifying hidden or disguised objects that might otherwise go unnoticed. As mentioned, it's equipped with a laser designator, which allows it to track and guide its gravity weapon to a moving vehicle. And finally, just behind the SATCOM dish are the communication data links, which handle more localized control. Above that, you'll spot the C-band antennas. These handle short-range, line-of-sight communication when the drone's operating closer to base. But what truly makes the Reaper stand out is its weapon system. Under its wings, it carries an array of deadly precision-guided munitions, allowing it to strike with incredible accuracy. The most commonly used weapon is the AGM Hellfire missile, a small but highly effective guided weapon designed to take out enemy vehicles, main battle tanks, fortified bunkers, or even individuals. When the operator selects a target, the Hellfire missile is locked onto it using a laser, radar, or GPS guidance system, depending on the specific version being used. If the target is being tracked by a laser designator, the missile will home in on the laser reflection, meaning it will follow the exact point the laser is marking, even if the target is moving. This makes it incredibly effective for striking fast-moving vehicles or enemy positions in dense urban environments. Once fired, the solid-fuel rocket motor ignites and the missile launches off the drone's wing pylon with a burst of speed, accelerating toward its target over 950 miles per hour. It doesn't rely on brute force like a bomb. Instead, it's designed to hit with pinpoint accuracy, delivering a high explosive warhead right where it's needed. The Reaper also carries GBU-12 Paveway 2 bombs, which are laser-guided and capable of hitting reinforced structures, and GBU-38G dams, which rely on GPS targeting for pinpoint accuracy, even in bad weather. This is where the AGM-R9X, nicknamed the Ninja Missile, changes the game. Engineers stripped away the explosive warhead found in standard Hellfire missiles and replaced it with something straight out of a spy thriller, with 6 razor-sharp extendable blades. Think of it as a 100-pound flying guillotine, not a bomb. While official specs are closely guarded, sources claim each blade stretches roughly 18 inches, creating a kill zone of just 3 feet. To put that in perspective, about the width of a compact car. Now compare that to the 50-foot blast radius of a conventional Hellfire, and you see why this innovation matters. In a real-world scenario, a high-value target slips through a busy city street surrounded by civilian cars. A traditional Hellfire strike here would turn the scene into a fireball, risking dozens of lives. but with the Ninja missile and MQ-9 Reaper drones circling overhead waits patiently. When the moment is right, it launches the weapon. No explosion follows, just the eerie thunk as the missile deploys its blades mid-flight. The titanium-edged swords slice through the target's vehicle like a hot knife through butter, neutralizing the threat with brutal efficiency. This lets the passengers in nearby cars might hear the impact, but they drive away unharmed. But critics, however, question whether any remote-controlled assassination can ever truly be ethical. From inside the command center, this is how he fires the missiles. He uses a thumbstick to zoom in on a heat signature, locking onto the target. When he's ready, there's a trigger button just below the joystick. A simple squeeze launches the weapon, guiding it directly to its intended target. These enemy targets firing at the MQ-9 reappear, clearly lit up on the screen, as you can see here. Even for civilians, there are countless bad actors targeting our computers, which is why we need a defense mechanism, just like the MQ-9 multi-targeting radar system. Similarly, this VPN identifies and blocks suspicious email with a harmful download link. In this case, it will alert you immediately. Now take a look at my Netflix account. As you can see, I'm currently in Norway. To switch to a US server, all I have to do is click here, refresh, and boom, you're now accessing Netflix US. Beyond that, it includes a robust antivirus software to shield your devices from viruses, malware, and tracking by ads, bots, or third parties. Finally, with Surfshark VPN, a single subscription covers not just you, but also your friends or even your entire city if you wanted. Go to our link surfshark.com/Aitelly. By buying through the promo link and using the code Aitelly, you will get 4 extra months free, assured by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, picture that this human stretching their arms out, except this wingspan is a massive 66 feet wide. That's longer than a 2 full-size school bus. Standing next to them, you'd notice they're about 36 feet long from head to toe, about the same length as 2 SUVs parked bumper to bumper. But when they stand tall, they reach 12.5 feet high, taller than a basketball hoop. Now, that's one seriously impressive figure for a drone. Flying an MQ-9 Reaper drone isn't a one-person job. It requires the launch crew, ground data terminals, and the ground control station. On the ground in a forward airbase, the launch crew preps the drone for flight. Nearby the ground data terminals link the aircraft operators located thousands of miles away in another country. Then there's the ground control station, a dimly lit command center where pilots and sensor operators guide the Reaper through the sky. Let's take a look at how it is launched. Picture a sun-scorched airfield near a conflict zone that is here. The crew fuels the drone, runs diagnostics, and triple checks every sensor and circuit. When the Reaper's engines roar to life, it's not a pilot in a cockpit guiding it down the runway. It's these technicians working in the heat, helmets on, hands steady, sending the 10,000-pound drone into the sky. This is what happens preparing for takeoff. A series of automated hydraulic actuators and motors work together to fold the landing gear neatly into the aircraft's underbody. This process is designed to be smooth and reliable, ensuring that the gear is securely stowed away to reduce drag during high-speed flight. As the drone nears its destination and initiates its descent, sensors and control systems trigger the reverse process. The landing gear unfolds in a carefully coordinated sequence. The nose gear drops down first to establish proper alignment, followed by the main landing gear emerging from their compartments along the underside of the aircraft. This coordinated action ensures that when the MQ-9 touches down, all wheels are correctly positioned to provide a stable and safe landing, even in challenging conditions. This is where handoff happens. Once airborne, control shifts thousands of miles away to the ground control station. This isn't your typical office. Screens glow in the low light, and at the center sit 2 key figures, the pilot and the co-pilot. Their hands hover over controls that feel more like high-tech gaming gear than instruments of war. But let's take a look at how to fly this drone. The pilot's left hand grips the throttle, the right holds a joystick. A gentle push with the throttle forward, and the Reaper surges to 300 miles per hour, which is around 480 kilometers per hour. A twist of the stick tilts the 11s, banking the drone into a turn sharper than a hawk's. Beside the pilot, the co-pilot watches a mosaic of live video feeds from the Reaper's cameras. Their joystick isn't only for flying, but for hunting. A thumbstick zooms in on a heat signature the size of a pixel. When ready, a trigger button when squeezed releases the weapon. If the order comes, a single keystroke sends a missile streaking toward its mark. But none of this would work without the ground data terminals. These systems connect the drone across the globe, linking it from the Middle East to the Pentagon to the ground control station. They make sure that, no matter where the mission unfolds, the Reaper remains in the hands of its operators. Let's take a look at how the control surfaces works. The MQ-9 doesn't use traditional ailerons and elevators like most aircraft. Instead, it employs 11s on the trailing edge of its wings. These versatile surfaces serve dual functions, controlling pitch and roll. When the pilot moves the stick, these 11s work in harmony, moving together to adjust the drone's nose up or down for mobility, to navigate the drone to its mission. They can also move in opposite direction to roll the aircraft left or right for nimble maneuvering, just by moving the sticks, sending the commands from thousands of miles away. The rudder, located on the vertical stabilizer, plays a vital role in managing yaw, allowing the aircraft to turn and make coordinated directional changes. This ensures smooth navigation during flight. One of the MQ-9's standout features is its inverted V-tail. This innovative design works alongside the rudder and 11s to enhance stability and responsiveness, making the aircraft adaptable to varying flight conditions. Interestingly, unlike fighter jets or commercial planes, the MQ-9 doesn't rely on traditional flaps for lift adjustments. Instead, its long wings, optimized for efficiency and lift combined with precise throttle control, enable smooth takeoffs and landings without needing additional flap mechanisms. These elements reflect the MQ-9's sophisticated engineering, ensuring it remains one of the most reliable unmanned aerial systems in operation. Let's take a look at what powers this UAV. The MQ-9 Reaper's engine breathes in air through an intake located right above the propeller from this inlet. As the aircraft moves forward, air naturally flows into this opening. Inside is the Honeywell. The engine uses a compressor to pull that air in and squeeze it, increasing its pressure. Once the air is compressed, it's mixed with fuel and ignited in the combustion chamber. This explosion of hot gases creates energy, spinning the turbine and turning the propeller shaft at the back. That's what keeps the drone moving forward and flying high. So even though we say the engine sucks air, it's really the forward motion of the drone combined with the compressor inside that draws air in and turns it into power. All the power for the MQ-9 Reaper comes from nearly 5 fuel tanks. The first fuel tank is located at the front, followed by Tank 2, Tank 3, and additional wing fuel tanks that help distribute the load. Inside, the Reaper holds about 4,000 pounds, which is around 602 gallons of fuel. But that's not all. When needed, it can carry extra fuel in external tanks, adding another 1,500 pounds to extend its endurance even further. With this fuel capacity, the MQ-9 Reaper can stay airborne for nearly 2 days, an impressive 27 to 34 hours, depending on its mission load. With a range of about 1,200 to 1,400 nautical miles without refueling, allowing it to travel from Saudi Arabia to Iran and back. However, several factors can affect how long the Reaper can stay in the air. The heavier its payload, such as Hellfire missiles or GBU bombs, the more fuel it consumes. But there's a smart way they figured out to conserve fuel. They make it climb this drone to an altitude of 50,000 feet, where it can glide toward its destination, reducing engine strain and extending its flight time. Because high-altitude cruising makes it even more efficient, ensuring it can complete long-duration missions with minimal interruptions. We make original videos from scratch, so please do subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos.